Hey guys, Mr. Castro here. I just have a quick lecture here for you to watch on shots and angles, which is going to be the focus of this week. We just finished mise en scène, and so this week we're looking at appreciating camera work. And so today we're just going to look at shots and angles and look at some basic terms and just give you some examples, and then we'll talk about camera movement. Then this week's film, I think, as the moment I'm recording this, is going to be Jojo Rabbit, and you'll be watching that and just really trying to pay close attention to the camera work in the film. So this comes from page 6 of the textbook. So page 6 is where you would want to be as I just go through some of these definitions and give you some examples. So as I said, this week we're looking at shots and angles. So I'm going to start off with shots. So definition of a shot is the implied distance between the camera lens and the subject. So it's basically how far are you away from the subject or the figure in the film. And so there are a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different types of shots that you will need to know. And you'll need to know the definition, but you also need to be able to look at a picture and see what, or a shot of the film and see what type of shot it is. So we're going to go from the furthest away from the subject to the closest. So first we have an extreme long shot. An extreme long shot is just where the subject is a great distance away, right? So if the subject is there, if you're watching a film and this is the character and you see a scene where it's a close-up and he's walking and then all of a sudden the shot moves to this, right? This is an extreme long shot. And if the director is using this, they really want to just show really more the environment, the scene that they're in rather than the subject themselves, right? So the subject is not of great importance in this shot. It is really about more the environment that they are in. Then you have the long shot, right? So that zooms in just a little bit more. And this is where a viewer can see an actor's entire body. So at this point, the actor can move, you can see what they're doing, not super closed in on their face, but you also have a good sense of the environment. So at this point, the director wants you to know what's going on in the world that they're in, the environment they're in, but also be able to see their movements. And then going a little bit more, you got a medium long shot or full shot. And that is, once again, it just goes in just a little bit more. You get a little bit of sense of their facial expressions. You don't see their full body, but you see most of it. So you're basically at the knees up. But once again, still here you have kind of a dual importance of the environment that they're in and then the figures themselves, or the actors. Then you have a medium shot. So make sure you know that this is the most common shot there is. So when you're watching a film, this is the most common shot you're going to see. And so at this point, you are seeing a character from the waist up. And why is this used more often than not? Well, one, you get a greater sense of their face and their emotions and their emotional responses to what's going on, but you also see their environment as well. So you kind of get both of those things. So what it says here, you have proximity without intimacy. So you're close enough, you can see what's going on, but it's not super involved as far as understanding what's going on with their emotions. Now you start getting closer and into their face. That is where the director is really wanting you to be aware of their emotional response to what is happening in the scene. So if you have a medium close-up, this is where you have a character with the from the middle chest to the top of the head. So just going in just a little bit more. But you still do get a little bit of the environment there. But here you can obviously see kind of the intensity, right, of the actor there. And then you go in even further. So this is where you get a close-up of the character's full head, or it's not even just their full head. You can't even see their full head anymore, right? It's a close-up even to their eyes or part of their face or their lips or whatever. That's an extreme close-up. And so why are these used? These are used usually when a director really wants you to connect with that character and really empathize with their emotions. They really want you to see what they're thinking and their emotional response. So the big idea in this is the further out you are on a shot, it's really more about the environment. And then the more you close in on the actor and you get to an extreme close-up, It's more focusing on the actor and more focusing on the emotions of the actor and having the audience empathize with what is going on in the scene with that character's response. All right, so those are shots. So that should be pretty easy. So for tests, you will need to know the basic definitions and then just some examples of that. Okay. And then, so shot is the distance from the figure. Angle is basically the height of the camera in relation to the subject. So basically think, higher or lower. And so angle that's all the angles are. So there's a couple of angles that you do need to know. All right, so most common is just going to be eye level. So eye level means that the camera is basically just eye level with the actors, right, or the figure, right? So it's relatively neutral. There's no trying to manipulate our emotions with this camera movement or this camera angle. It's just telling us the story, telling us the time, place, everything that's happened. So it's neutral. But then you have a high angle. So a high angle is where the camera is above the action, right? It is above the actor. And usually what that does, it implies that the audience have some sort of superiority over the actors, or it makes the actors or the figures that we're focusing on look inferior somehow. In this situation, we watched Men in Black earlier, right? This was a camera angle where we were supposed to basically have the point of view of the bug monster, right? So that was supposed to make here Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones, right, look inferior to him. And then you have the opposite, you have the low angle, right? So if you have a low angle, it makes the actor look superior, but it makes it gives the audience a feeling of inferiority. So you see this in horror movies, right, quite a bit, right, where you have, Jason, that's not Jason, that's Michael Myers, overlooking us, right, and just makes it a little bit more creepy and scary, right, because we have this feeling of inferiority. All right, this is another angle which is kind of interesting. It's called the oblique or Dutch angle. So you'll see this from time to time. This is from Inception, Christopher Nolan film. And all this is the camera is just tilted. That's basically it. And all it does is just kind of unnerves the audience a little bit and makes the audience feel just off kilter. All right, then you have aerial or bird's eye view. So all that is it just gives you an expansive look at some different scene or different area. So here, this is, I can't remember what movie this is from, but it's just overlooking, right, a tennis match. Or it could be, a forest, or it could be overlooking a city or whatever. So it gives you the sense that you are just kind of viewing all and gives the audience this sense that they're kind of omnipotent or omniscient, right? They can just kind of see all. So you'll see that from time to time. Okay, that's basically it. So that was just from page 6 on shots and angles. I just wanted to define the terms and just give you some examples of that. So just to see if you have those basics, I have a couple of pictures I just took from the film you just watched, the Fantastic Mr. Fox. And you should see questions pop up, and you just put what shot and what angle is this an example of? So I'll just go one by one. All right, so hopefully that was easy enough. That was just, can you identify the shot in the angle? So the shot is the distance between the camera and the figure or the actor, and then the angle is basically the height. How high is it? How low is it? And there's an emotional response the audience is supposed to have based on that. All right, so the last thing with camera we're just going to look at is camera movement and different type of camera techniques. We will talk about that. I'll show you a couple of clips about that on Tuesday. But before that, just what you need to do is take a look at page 7 of your textbook. So page 7 talks about the most common types of camera movements, but there are some other ones, and we'll look at those on Tuesday, and then we'll be starting Jojo Rabbit, I think. If it's not Jojo Rabbit, it'll be The Fugitive, but we'll start that on Tuesday. And so the focus of this film is going to be just really keying in on the type of shots, type of angles, and the camera work that you're seeing. All right, thanks for watching.